And all the presentations will be later available online. And as far as the speakers, I have a kind request because we have a busy schedule to respect the given timelines and slots. And for any other questions, just chat box us and we will try to help you any way we can. So without further ado, let's go briefly through the agenda that is already posted online, the EUSAIR website. So we will have brief welcome addresses. Then we will ask the country representatives, the presenters of today's event, to present themselves very briefly with your own expectations from the meeting. All the other participants, you're kindly invited to present yourself in the chat box, tell us who you are, what are you looking for, what's your expectations. After that, we will start with the keynote speeches, so from the Joint Research Center and from the EUSAIR project, and then we'll have a short reflection time. After that, we are looking for a break. Then, after the break, we will invite the S3 regions representatives to present themselves and present the state of the art of the S3 in their respective regions. You're kindly invited also to present what your needs are, what kind of support you're looking from the European Commission, from the JRC. And then we have some time for discussions and conclusions and next steps. So this is briefly it. Now I'm asking Mr. Bojan Suvorov from the government office to please welcome us. Bojan, the floor is yours.
Simona, thank you very much for this nice and exact introduction. Dear Presidency, dear representatives of the Commission and of the JRC, dear colleagues in all participating countries, we have it. We have the event focusing on the smart specialization strategies. Finally, I can say, it is true that we are not face to face due to known COVID situation. But anyway, we have the opportunity to discuss who is who, what has been done, how we are coping, why we are doing it, and how we are doing the smart specialization strategies in our regions, in our macro region. I have to say that we in Slovenia, we are believers. We are true believers in what we are doing. In some senses, we believe that we have been front loader in certain areas covered by smart specializations. We have not been focused only on the R&D. We covered since the beginning also SMEs, digital agenda, and of course, human resources. We firmly believe that people are the engine behind the wheel. And if people are skilled, if they are dedicated, if they speak to each other, then we will reach our goals. And this collaboration, exchange of ideas and views, this is the heart of our entrepreneurial development process. I do not want to dwell deeper since Gorazd will enlighten this later today. What I want to stress at the end is that I strongly believe that this will not be one-off event, but that it will become traditional. That we will meet and exchange information in our macro region on a regular basis. We need this. We need this to be better. Our strategies to be adopted not only to national environment, but to international and macro-regional environment. And that's important. Some of you might know that I was part of Slovene macro-regional team until recently. Even more, I was national coordinator for ESI funds, and as such, I had good overview what is going on in the field of funds and in the macro-regional areas. And I was faced with situation that it was hard to get people within the same ministries to talk among themselves. Or if they talked, it was difficult to understand each other. Embedding is one of such exercises where still has to be proven if ESIF staff heard macro-regional believers and vice versa. Saying this, I have to congratulate the Slovene presidency for organizing this and the other events in traditional already 5th Mediterranean Coast and Macro-Regional Strategies Week. And I have to thank Simona, Stasha and Gorazd for all the efforts put in this event, which I strongly believe, as I already said, will become traditional and on the agenda for future Mediterranean Coast and Macro-Regional Strategies Week. I know it was not an easy task, but we believe that it is necessary and possible to have it, and we have it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bojan. So next, I would like to give a short welcome word to Mrs. Andrea Jarina, EUSAIR Presidency National Coordinator from Republic of Slovenia, Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Good morning, everybody. Warm welcome in my own name, in the name of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and also in the name of a pro tempore EUSAIR presidency. It is a real honor to host you today at the 5th Mediterranean Coast and Macro-Regional Strategies Week that we are hosting in this hybrid manner, a little bit in Slovenian coast, in Isola, and majority of it online. This year, Macro-Regional Strategies Week is very special because of 3 reasons. The first one is that we are celebrating the 5th anniversary. Within the 5 years, from a very small local event, the Mediterranean Coast and Macro-Regional Strategies Week grew into the EU recognized event where we would normally host up to 1,000 people from the Baltics, Danube, Alpine and Adriatic Ionian region to exchange among ourselves on the good practices, ideas, solutions, but in particular to meet, network and make friends, because this is crucially needed in order if we want to work together. And the recent COVID-19 crisis actually showed us in most brutal manner what it happens if we close behind national or regional borders. Only when we started working together, actually it was better for all of us. And working together within the macro-regional strategies, this is something that we are good at. And the third characteristic of this year Mediterranean Coast and Macro-Regional Strategies Week is this is one of the milestones of Slovenian presidency to the Adriatic Ionian strategy. The focus of Slovenian presidency is actually on strong, resilient, green and smart Europe. And this is seen also through the These Years program, when in addition to all the events, actually we are implementing 15 events plus 3 side events, so quite a bit. So we did address 4 very important topics, which are at the peak at the European focus also. We gathered together all the people within the 4 macro-regional strategies responsible for the tourism, where we tried together with the European Commission to have a look how we could help to recover tourism sector, of course, with the collaboration. And the outcome of this exchange should be a declaration to be adopted during the European Cities and Regions Week in October in Brussels as a kind of guidelines to all our colleagues responsible for the future programming documents, for the future programming, in order what kind of measures are worthwhile of financial support. The second topic that we addressed actually has a little bit of a connection with the resilience of the Europe, namely concerning the food production. We've seen during the crisis that Europe is very much dependent on the import of the food. If we want to produce sufficient quantities of high quality food, We need to have biodiversity. Green infrastructure, does it help? Green infrastructure is the issue that we are dealing with macro-regional strategies already for a few years. Yesterday and the day before, we challenged extremely important subject, and this is the European Green Deal. This is the plan of the European Union. How to make our economies sustainable by 2015. But it's not only our economies, it's also our societies. And in today's discussion, actually, there was a big consensus that macro-regional strategies are the key contributors to the implementation of the Green Deal today, not tomorrow. Why today? Because within the work, within the macro-regional strategies, and there we were particularly challenging the Adriatic-Ionian strategy, we have already identified the topics that are of strategic importance for the region. Not only the topics, but we have also identified the measures, the processes, the projects that have to be implemented in order that these topics, these ideas are really implemented. These are so-called flagships. And while having them, we have already agreed macro-regional ideas how to move forward in order to green our region. And greening of our region is the, let's say, leitmotif of the Slovenian presidency. We say that we bring additional green wind into the Adriatic-Ionian sails. And we sincerely hope this is going to happen. But in order to do this, at the end of the day, we need to be smart, because only smart solutions are sustainable solutions, forward-oriented. And we sincerely hope that these 2 days exchange that we will have today and tomorrow will contribute to the smart solutions of all the efforts that are already here on the table. And I firmly believe that today and tomorrow's meeting will be a turning point, bringing also the resources, the joint efforts in smart Adriatic-Ionian initiative, in smart recovery, in smart green, actually allowing conditions for all of us to live and work in a good conditions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So the next one, I would like to give to Mr. Jean-Pierre Halpin from European Commission, Head of Unit D1 in DG Regio, Macro Regions, Transnational and Interregional External Cooperation and Enlargement. Mr. Halpin, the word is yours.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I hope that you are all doing fine, and I'm very pleased to be invited to speak at this very important event. I will first start by congratulate the Slovenian presidency of the Adriatic-Ionian strategy for its very dynamic approach to the situation, which is very exceptional and requests a lot of innovation in the presidency itself. In addition, I would like to stress also the success of the week of the Mediterranean Coast and macro-regional strategies organized by Slovenia as a yearly event, which has been very promising and is also extremely successful. And the last point I would like to stress is also how we are excited by the event organized today. I've been invited to say a few words, and many of the points I was invited to say have already been said by Bojan and Andrea, but I will still repeat a few points. First of all is that, as it was mentioned, the world after the COVID-19 crisis will not be the same as the world before the COVID-19 crisis. And in order to face a challenge, we will need innovation more than ever. And this need for innovation is not at all reducing the need to address the challenge of sustainability. The Green Deal, which is looking at both the environmental but also the climate change challenges and the way we can turn those hurdles into assets for the European Union economy and for the economy of the countries which are surrounding the European Union. The next point that we are also looking at is the challenge of the digitalization, which is at the same time a challenge but also providing promises. And it is in this context that we see the relevance and the importance of this event, which is, as it was already said, the first of a series of meetings, which is particularly important for all countries which are participating to the macro-regional strategy of the Adriatic and Ionian region. We expect that this set of events will contribute to the internationalization within the regions and will launch cross-cutting collaboration among the different stakeholders. But we also expect that this set of meetings will contribute to support entrepreneurial discovery process when S3 are prepared in the Adriatic Ionian region. We hope that S3 strategies will also enable each region to identify and develop their own comparative advantage. That it will boost not only smart specialization, but also the ability of local authorities, academia, business sphere, and civil society to work together and to implement long-term growth strategies supported by EU funds, but also national capacity. Just as a reminder about how important smart specialization are for the European Union, we have right now more than 120 smart specializations that have been developed. And only for the ESIF fund, which are the European Structural and Investment Funds, we are going to dedicate more than 67 billion to those strategies. And we expect that thanks to the strategies, we are going to contribute to the development of more than 15,000 new products, that it will also assist more than 140,000 new startups, and that at the end, it will also contribute to the creation of 350,000 jobs. I mention this also because this is a type of jobs we will need while recovering from the COVID-19 crisis. More than ever, we will need to have qualified jobs. We are looking at innovation. What is very exciting with today's discussion is that so far, smart specialization strategies are developed mainly on national and regional level, and mainly among EU member states. By harnessing and combining the smart specialization strategy with the potential of the macro-regional strategies, we expect to create a real added value and to boost the potential of the smart specialization strategies by looking at the vehicle that the macro-regional strategy can provide to disseminate further innovation and to boost cooperation among regions. And what is important is that also we want to work within the European Union, but also the macro-regional strategies allows us to work beyond the European Union, to work together with a partnership with all the countries of the Balkans, which are also part of the strategy. And this is where we see again the flexibility and the added value of the macro-regional strategies coming in. We are not starting from scratch. We have already some very successful examples of the promotion of innovation at a macro strategic level. I'll just give one example, which is the project which is called EUSAIR, which is a network funded by EUSAIR project, which is funded itself by Adria. This project is supporting network activities to boost mainly innovation in 3 sectors: transport and mobility, energy and environment, and agro-bioeconomy. And this connects very well also with the intervention made by Andrea, highlighting the fact that we need to manage our ecosystem in the most efficient manner. And we know that the farmers are also the manager of a large part of our ecosystem. This is embedded in the Adriatic Union Smart Specialization Strategy and supporting areas of mutual interest. With today's event, we are moving a big step forward regarding Smart Specialization Strategy and the European Union strategy for the Adriatic Union region. This step will bring our strategy closer to macro-regional strategies, will make its partner to think innovative and to work towards future macro-regional partnership in the Adriatic Union region. It should also help addressing common challenges, and it will be benefiting from strengthened cooperation to contribute to the economic, social, and territorial cohesion. Today, we are all coming here at this event with very high expectation. And I'm looking forward to listen to the outcome of the meeting, and I'm confident that it will bring fruitful exchange of experience, that it will also boost exchange of good practices or identification of good practices, and it will contribute to boost innovation and internationalization in the region. I thank you very much for your attention, and as you have heard, I'm coming here with a lot of expectation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Valentini. So right now it's time for tour de table. I would suggest that we go by the alphabetic order. So I will first invite the representatives of Albania. If you could please introduce yourself and tell us about your expectations. Linda, are you with us?
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting us in this very interesting meeting. What I can say is that Albania is, first of all, I'm Linda Pustina. I'm from the Prime Minister Office. I headed the S3 process from the beginning in Albania. And let's say it was a really interesting process with challenges and also difficulties, but now we are moving on with the process. Actually, Albania is in the phase of mapping, approaching the end of this phase. We are working on the mapping report, updating it with the latest, let's say, data and analysis. And all the process is foreseen to be finalized by 2021. Now we have also the support of GRC on this process, and we have foreseen in this for the S3 some new, let's say, opportunities to be analyzed and to be included. The first one is including in this process of the an analysis on the human capital in diaspora. That is really interesting for Albania, but also I think for the other Western Balkan countries, considering that this huge potential, human potential, can be really a support for the development of our economies in the region. And for that, we have foreseen to establish a platform for brain circulation in order to make possible for all the diaspora professionals and research and academics to be involved deeply in the future development of the country. Considering the regional cooperation, this would be really important, considering that we have a lot of people in other countries, as for example in Italy or Greece, and this could be the basis of a future collaboration between our countries. And what we have also pushed during this process, also in our regional Western Balkans 6 economies, was to examine and to analyze also the opportunities of cross-border collaborations, considering that our economies are really interacting between them, also in the macro regions. So I think during this process it would be very interesting to see not only within our economies how which are the priorities, but also to evaluate regional priorities and the collaboration in cross-border areas that need more interaction between our countries, and analysis done in a proper way, evaluating also this kind of. I think this view on developing our S3, or also in updating S3 for those countries that have already developed it, will be crucial for our collaboration in the region.
Thank you very much, Ida. Thank you so much. I would just kindly ask all the participants to please try and be as brief as you can, so we're not too late or delayed. So the next word I'd like to give to Mrs. Tanja Lucic from Bosnia and Herzegovina. Tanja, are you with us?
Hello, good morning to everybody. Can you hear me? Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You are fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, my name is Tanja Lucic. I work in Directorate for Economic Planning as a head of department for strategic planning, and I'm the contact point for S3. As we are at the beginning of the process with still forming the national team for S3, I have not much to say right now, but we are looking forward to hear on this conference everybody's experiences about the process and all the steps about making the strategy of the smart specialization. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanja. Mr. George Alexakis from region of Crete in Greece. So what are your expectations from today's event? George, are you with us? Okay, maybe he will, there's some technical difficulties, or Mr. Alexakis is maybe not yet present. So next, Stefano Valentini from Emilia Romagna region in Italy. Stefano, what is your expectations?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this really important event. My name is Stefano Valentini, and I'm working for ARTER. ARTER is the innovation agency of Emilia-Romagna region. So we are in charge of preparing and implementing and monitoring the smart specialization strategies of our region. So my expectation for this event, it's basically exchange experiences and ideas, opportunities for collaborating, and with particular regard to cooperation, regional cooperation, in terms of innovation and among regions, and in particular relating for the field of blue bioeconomy, in which we will work very deeply in next year, thanks to a new project, and we will use this project, Blue Biomed, within a MED program for testing tools and process for collaborate, engage region and collaborate on innovation and we think that this process could be also useful for as a test for other domains. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next with us is Mrs. Branka Žižić from Montenegro, and I see you are with us. So, Branka, what is your expectations?
Thank you, Simona. Hello to everyone. I'm Branka Žižić. I work for the Ministry of Science, the General Director for Innovation and Technology Development, and I'm also National Coordinator for the stage of S3 implementation. Our expectations are to learn more from partners from the region about common challenges and ways to implement the smart specialization strategies better together. We are happy to hear that Slovenia has decided to green our region. So let's do it all together and cooperate. And we are really looking forward to find more about the macro-regional cooperation and some more structured and coordinated approach to this.
Thank you so much, Branka. Next with us is, I hope, Mrs. Jasmina Majstorovska from North Macedonia.
Yes, hello everybody. It is a pleasure to be part of the meeting of the EU strategy for the Adriatic and Ionian region as a new participating country. My name is Jasmina Majstorovska. I'm coming from the Ministry of Economy and I'm the head of the S3 working group. So the Republic of North Macedonia is also in the process of development of the strategy for smart specialization. And we have learned that smart specialization offers a lot of potentials for collaboration and partnership. And because Adriatic Ionian partners are our neighbors from the region, so we look forward to see, to learn and to utilize the potentials of the strategy, especially for mutual learning, exchanging good practices, networking stakeholders regionally, open new opportunities for development and implementation of joint initiatives. So I look forward for the today meeting and learning all the participants and hearing new information and then implementing new initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Viktor Nedović from Serbia, are you with us? Can you tell us something about your expectations?
Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Hello to everyone. It's my great pleasure to join today's meeting. Thank you for your kind invitation. Yes, I'm Viktor Nedović, coming from on a way nowadays from the Ministry of Education, Science and Technological Development, as recently I left the position of the Assistant Minister and took over the position of the General Manager of one structural project for the government, Serbia Accelerating Innovation and Growth Entrepreneurship, where smart specialization is one of the crucial parts as well. My expectation from today's meeting is actually to develop further networking, communication, and the cooperation in the future to try to identify what we have, different economies, different countries, what we have in common, and why not to find some jointly to find some funds for the future implementation of our strategies. This meeting is also from another side of high importance for me, as I am also chairing the Priority Area 7. I'm co-coordinator of Priority Area 7 of the Danube strategy, EU strategy for the Danube region. And from that perspective, I would like to develop closer cooperation with the Adriatic Ionian one. And as we are organizing soon in October this year, I will inform you in a few days, the steering group meeting of the Priority Area 7. It will be nice to organize a kind of representation of Adriatic Ionian strategy at our meeting, if it will be possible. Thank you very much, and we continue to discuss later on.
Thank you, Mr. Nedović. And I see Mr. George Alexakis from region of Crete has joined us. So can you please briefly present yourself and your expectations from today's event?
Good morning. Good morning from the Crete. This is the southeast part of EUSAIR. Thank you very much for inviting our region to this interesting meeting. Congratulations to Slovenian presidents for the excellent organization of this week. Also, we welcome all the members to this meeting. In my capacity as Vice Governor of Region of Crete and as Vice President of CPMR, we think that this meeting is very important for the island, for our island. As well, we try to boost innovation in small SMEs, in small business in Crete, and macro-regional approach and interregional cooperation will be of added value for Crete, as I will explain in my presentation later. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And now, last but not least, Gorazd Jenko from Slovenia. Gorazd, what is your expectations?
Thank you, Simona. Hello to everyone, also from my side, and a warm welcome. I'm Gorazd Jenko, as I was announced. I am already from the beginning in the we call it S4, no Slovenia Smart Specialization Strategy team. And we are those who are responsible taking you today the time, and I'm very, very happy to have you so high number and that you have such high expectations from the meeting. And we do hope that we will all together, of course, fulfill it. As it was already mentioned, Slovenia is and was already from the beginning a strong believer in the smart specialization, a strong believer in cooperation and collaboration, a strong believer in potential of our and everyone's human resources, of people. People are those who are making changes. And this is also why, also in my presentation later on, a lot of emphasis will be given to potential of the people. We are, as said, we are believers in the S4, as it was mentioned by my head, the head of unit of the S4 unit, Bojan, in the beginning. We are believers, strong believers in the power of the entrepreneurial discovery process, because we believe that without strong entrepreneurial discovery process, there is no ownership. We can all do inside room documents, but without stakeholders, there are nothing. So we do believe that and here is also where we see the potential for our mutual exchange of best practices, and to identify the potential and to somehow raise our cooperation in the region to a higher level to exploit our potentials. Final aim, I would say, of all of us would have to be to get to know each other better, align our policies, see where the potentials are, and to finally come to somehow, I would say, joint support, or at least aligned support in some tenders or calls in the region. And I will conclude with the words of our cyclist, Tadej Pogačar, who said when he won 3 days ago Tour de France, probably a lot of you have followed the race, that never give up and never stop believing. And that's our motto in the S4 as well.
Thank you, Gorazd. So now we have the first keynote speech from Aleš Gnauš, representative of Joint Research Center, and he will talk about the state of the art and opportunities within the Adriatic Ionian region. Aleš, are you with us? Aleš, can you hear us? Give us 1 second to see if he might have some technical difficulties, if you don't mind.
I'm sure he didn't give up. Se purtroppo non sa, c'è domani.
Alex just has some minor technical difficulties, so just give us about 20-30 seconds and hopefully it will work out. Domagoj, are you with us? Can you take over and we will just switch the agenda, if it's possible?
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So you can take over, Domagoj.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello to everybody. Dear colleagues, thank you for inviting me here in this event to present and represent our project and pilot macro-regional strategy of Adriatic Ionian region. And as we can heard recently, we are also very proud that Mr. Halkin mentioned us as a good example in the Interreg program. So I will try to share my screen. Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Not yet, but it should come up in a second. No, unfortunately did not come up yet. Domagoj, could you try and do the screen sharing again? Because you have not made the presenter.
I'm trying. But nothing happening.
One second, Domagoj, I will try to share your presentation. Just give me a second. I'm so sorry.
No, I cannot share the screen. I have all the steps in front of my display, but I choose the screen and click the share button, but nothing happening.
Domagoj, can you just resend me the presentation, please?
I'll try.
I found it, Domagoj, so I will just share the screen, okay? And you could just tell me when I can move forward. Okay. Can everybody see it? Okay, we're on.
Yes.
So, apologize again, and Domagoj, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Simona. So once again, my name is Domagoj Šarić. I'm coming from Croatian Chamber of Economy and as a partner member of the EUSAIR project. So we were responsible for the doing of a macro pilot of the macro-regional smart specialization strategy of the Adriatic-Ionian region. Yeah, next slide, please. Okay, briefly about the project. So the establishment of the open innovation system of the Adriatic-Ionian region. So based on the 3 pillars, so we established a network ready for innovate based on the hub and spoke model. Hub is a one center, and spokes is spread around the members of the partnership, and all these things are consisting in the EUSAIR hub. So the macro region is, let's say, very exciting because there is a lot of regions which are excellent, and we have lagging regions, and the regions and national strategies which are on the beginning and of the smart specialization strategy, what is on the beginning. So very exciting. And so we as a partnership try to put this thing or this macro regional strategy as a balanced and levelized, but yet ambitious. So we will see how this story was, and I will briefly walk you through our story. Next slide, please. Okay, so at the beginning we had a great challenge because there is no such a thing developed yet on a let's say macro regional smart specialization strategy. So we have 2 things which are already developed and stabilized. We have smart specialization across the regions and nations or the member states, and we have European macro regional strategy. In this case, this is EUSAIR. So we do not have much, let's say, documents or works which are combining these 2 key things together, and we had a great challenge. But as I said before, we try to cover all participants into regions, all member states and other states which do not have smart specialization strategy on the level as the best have. And next, please. Next slide. Yeah. So this is the okay. So we try to set up the scene of this macro regional strategy. The vertical thing is what should we do, and the horizontal is how. So on the side of what, we have to join, let's say, bottom up and top up approaches. So bottom up is already established smart specialization strategy through the regions. Especially we focused on the smart specialization strategies of our partnerships. So 2 Italian, Croatian and Slovenian as a national, 2 Italian as a regional, Greek as a regional and national, and the other strategic documents from other participants in our consortium. On the how, we combine the open innovation approach and we are looking for funding opportunities in the near future, which is, we heard, it's a very, very promising thing that the EU budget is rising, especially in the Horizon and digital agenda. So we have these two horizontal and vertical view targeted into the macro-regional smart specialization strategy. So next, please. My presentation, next slide, please. My presentation would be we will cover a basic methodology. We will show you main results, a little bit about the framework we set up for a strategy, and then a strategy fit that would be both adaptable for the EUSAIR strategy, macro-regional strategy, and the capacities and goals of a regional smart specialization strategy around the region. And then I will tackle the blue growth area, especially because tomorrow I hope we will see a little bit more, and we will hear a little bit more about our project and our future plans towards our specialization strategy in the region, a macro region from our lead partner, Area Science Park. Next, please. This is the simplified version of our methodology. So we have 33 smart specialization strategies or similar documents from those countries which don't have it yet. And we counted about more than 200 thematic priority areas. So it's a challenging. So the first thing, when we analyze this, we choose to classify in the 20 standard, more general categories, which we called macro-regional thematic priority areas. Then we correlate in them to the 4 pillars of the EUSAIR strategy, because from our approach, we have to combine this. So we have to combine the challenges of the macro region with the capacities and goals from the bottom, from the smart specialization strategy, because those kind of data, those kind of entrepreneurial discovery process are already done. So we just analyze what we have on the table, let's say. Then we choose according to some kind of criteria and identify 5 macro regional thematic priority areas based on quantity and also based on interaction with the pillars of the EUSAIR strategy. Then we aligning by analyzing all the data took from the S3 platform from JRC, which was very helpful because they already noticed that the classification, who is doing what and what is the goals of each region, and grouping them on the same path or the same thematic areas, it's very good and very promising for collaboration on the same challenges. So then we align all these things and came with the strategy components on the strategy fit by sub-thematic areas, and later on I will show you how we put the strategy into the final shape. Next, please. So this is only illustration how we try to find how collaboration works between institutions of excellence and between countries and within the region. So nodes are R&D institutions. Links between them is a collaboration on the projects, and the size of the node is how many projects with the collaboration component is by each institution. So we see some groupings, and the color coding is countries. So we then choose several topics which are, let's say, close to our thematic areas we chose for the macro-regional strategy, just to show you how things works. Yeah? So we see that in bioeconomy, and later we will see how bioeconomy is frequent. There's much more collaboration, energy less, transport more, and we choose data from the FP7 and Horizon 2020. Next, please. Okay, according to the standard of how to make a good smart specialization strategy, we are aware that we covered only half, because this is a project which we want to focus on several common interesting areas of interest to set up the POC call, proof of concept call, to enhance and boost the collaboration between R&D and the SMEs. So we are aware what we did, and we are aware what we should do to be more consistent with the real smart specialization strategy. But at the end, the transformative attribute of this strategy is the most important. So less in technology, but more how the industries and how the players should transform to be competitive in the near future. Next, please. So with every strategy should begin with some general overview, or the common constant where we are and where we are going. So we set up the purpose and vision of this strategy. Later on I will touch this again, but the purpose is something which never ends, and it's a reason of existence, as it wrote. And we say, okay, let's strengthen the regional innovation and boost the cross-regional collaboration, responding to priorities. So priorities of the macro region by using the capacities and goals from the smart specialization strategy locally, regionally, or nationally. And by the vision, is the mission complete or goals successfully achieved? So it's a build a competitive transnational value chain in Adriatic and Ionian region. So to connect the most advanced and less advanced, to share the common missions and common projects to levelize the participation, and also of the common interest. Next, please. This Anki diagram is showing us how we combined, or how we sieve from the more than 200 thematic priority areas, categories, them into 20 categories, and then try to analyze which of them are fitting into pillars of the EUSAIR strategy, and then the topics. So this is the picture, and easily understood. A lot of things are not, let's say, ending by regional goals of the smart specialization strategy, but half of them can be used for tackling the goals and challenges of the region. Next, please. So I will briefly show you the five macro regional thematic priority areas we chosen according to the frequency and according to the connection with the EUSAIR macro regional strategy. So we choose our bioeconomy, which is like 30 regional S3s or strategic documents. So energy and environment had 20. Transport and mobility 8, but it's very important for the EUSAIR. Tourism and culture, we have 23 regions tackling these thematic areas within this smart specialization, and also health and medicine 19. So some of these smart specialization strategies are regional, some of them are national, so we covered the countries or the regions respectively. The next. So later on, you will see and you can see the presentation. I will not read everything, but so we by analyzing and making a foresight, and as we heard, we tackle already then, before 2 years ago, a problem or a challenge for greening or for the future-proof technologies and solutions, what is in connection with the common challenges of the EUSAIR. So in the agro-bioeconomy, so as a region which is tight on the Adriatic and the Ionian Sea, plus some countries which don't have let's say a border on the sea, but also can participate into that. So we have 3 subtopics here with the outcomes, and each of these subtopics should enhance the collaboration and try to transform the industries and the SMEs into the let's say functional value chains. Next. The second thematic area is energy and environment, and we said here the integration of distributed energy resources to prepare the great environmental heritage we have in the region and prepare it for the new energy sources, renewable sources, but to tackle the skills of how to integrate them into the bigger networks. Next. Transport and mobility. It's greening the coastal and maritime transport is a main issue. So it's some kind of, let's say, old industry, but have to be renewed by the green and clean technologies. The second one, please, is a tourism and culture. Here we try to combine the digital and creative upgrade of the culture and cultural tourism and the heritage we have in this region. Next one. The last thematic priority areas is health and medicine, and it's almost in every in some kind of every smart specialization strategy, because it's a macro trend of aging and population rising and etc. So we tackle here the new sustainable health care models, and we have to transform and adapt to the new digital technologies in the way we communicate, a way we can check and of course check the health and the status of our health, and of course try to lower the overall costs of the health system. Next. So about the strategy pyramid or the framework, so we choose this approach. So purpose and vision should be common for all thematic priority areas of macro-regional smart specialization strategy, but for each of these thematic priority areas, we will choose or we will define a separate mission and a separate goals. So the mission that everybody understood and easily can be understood, because to communicate it well, the strategy is the main point of making strategy successful. And of course, the goals and the short-term objectives that support our mission. Next one. So strategy elements we choose because of a lot of differences, and as I said, exciting macro region. All of us should follow some kind of focused missions. So we take the opportunity to study from Professor Matsukato the concept of mission-oriented R&D projects, and here we compare how we structured this macro-regional smart specialization strategy. Each thematic priority area has its mission, and the subtopics are supporting each other, and as you see from the right side, key enabling technologies are open to participate, because we are here talking about solutions, not technologies. Next one. This slide is also very important as our finding in our budget and the scope of our project, but we checked what are the value chains and how the region playing in this area. So from the left side we can see the global value chain participation. So the most advanced countries have a very high participation in the global value chain. So for example, materials come outside from the region, and products go also outside from the region. And on the right side, we have a traditional trade, which is said that those advanced countries in the value chain trade at least trade less with the region. And on the other side, the participating in the lower participating in the value chain has a bigger trade into the region. Down is also transformation of the value chain, where value is pushed more to the sides in the design R&D from the left, and from the right, where is after sales services. Next, please. And then on the other side. Next. Yeah, and here we can see the purpose and the vision for all thematic priority areas, and then the missions of each. So I can just read the first one. So for the food, fresh and safe Mediterranean diet delivered from its source. So everybody can understand that Mediterranean diet is a very healthy, and everybody should take an advantage of Mediterranean area to participate into this value chain. So others are other missions and goals are set alike, and you can read it separately because we don't have time. Next, please. We also tackled a blue growth pillar, which will be tomorrow explained more in detail, because we try to continue our mission of open innovation platform in this project, and try to let's say bring on as much as actions and activities possible after our successful POC call. Yeah. So the blue pillar. So I show you here what our macro regional strategy is tackled the most from the blue pillar. And next, please. Here we have a count how many classifieds. After we classify the smart specialization thematic priority areas, how many of them say blue economy is our thematic priority? Only 4, 2 from Italy, 2 from Greece. And if we have main policy objectives, we have 14 blue growth policy objectives, and there is what they are. So from 5 from agro-bioeconomy, 4 for blue economy, tourism, transport, and the last one, please. And this is the picture of what is the spread of R&D data landscape. So how many scientific domains are each smart specialization strategy or other strategic document count as a priority. So we have that almost, and also I have to say that we analyzed, let's say, current smart specialization strategy documents or the data from the platform, not tackling the new or the strategies which are in, let's say, re-engineered or try to renew them for the new period. And as we see, emerging blue growth areas are only in minority. So we have a great opportunity here to, for the blue pillar, we have to increase the R&D toward blue economy, because it is green, as Green Deal says, and let's say a good counterpart for the Green Deal. And that's all. Thank you from my side. I hope I managed the time slot in spite of technical problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Domagoj. We appreciate your presentation. I hope you could stay with us in case there's some questions just before our break. And now I'm inviting Aleš Gnamuš. Aleš, are you with us?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Welcome. So Aleš,
Okay.
the floor is yours. Go ahead and share your screen.
Yeah, thank you. I hope it works. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can see it.
How do I do that to is it now okay? You see only the presentation, is that right?
Yes, we see the first and the second slide so far.
Okay.
But it's okay.
Well, okay, so many thanks. I hope that it will go smoothly. I had some problems with the connection, but well, hopefully it will work out now. So many thanks for offering me the slot for presenting a little bit the smart specialization as an opportunity for the enhanced research and innovation cooperation in the Adriatic-Ionian region. I will briefly go through slides. You will see that our work is in a certain way, a kind of continuation of work, very good work that has just been presented now by Domagoj. And actually, we find the work of Domagoj and of EUSAIR project very important and very useful. We tried to actually do our work a little bit more with the aim to identify a few direct policy recommendations in support of the closer research and innovation cooperation in the region, and perhaps also in light of possible better integration of the non-EU partner countries. As you know, there are like five candidate countries, so to say, fully participating in the Adriatic-Ionian macro-regional strategy. So they tend to have some problems of integrating in the major way into the activities that are going on in the research and innovation across Europe. Firstly, as finally DG Regio presentation is kind of will be only in a way audio. So in audio, so without slides. Just to share with you a basic concept of smart specialization that most of you, of course, know. It's based on thorough and systematic analysis of economic potential, innovative potential, and scientific potential, with the cross-section of social challenges that should be, fully integrated in the whole framework. And it's actually analyzing opportunities to move up the value chains, niches to compete at international markets, European but also global markets, It's trying to identify the adding value to existing activities and create new solutions. So this strategy is actually lying at the crossroads of many other strategies and activities. So industrial strategy, inclusive growth, also lately Green Deal, no, European Green Deal, the globalization with its socio-economic and other grand challenges. It's also, of course, taking into consideration multi-annual financial framework, because the financing comes from the ESIF, so European Structural Investment Funds, and also, of course, cohesion policy before and after 2020, so with the new financial perspective from 2021-27, and then also, of course, European and global value chains. The policy premise here is that smart specialization is an important tool to enhance regional research and innovation cooperation in the overall Southeast Europe. And of course, Adriatic Ionian region is an important part, very important part of the Southeastern Europe cooperation. It, of course, is going hand in hand in a way, like Victor mentioned before, also with the Danube macro region, which also in a way lies in this area of Europe and supports the cooperation with some additional countries that are not partner of this macro region strategy. But there are quite a few countries that are actually the same in both. So we tried to, in a way, it was very good that Domagoj presented before me, because I'm referring here to EUSAIR Adrian project that he was presenting as an existing studies, no? So that were basically working towards mapping of economic research and innovation potentials in the whole Adriatic Ionian region. So in a way, our methodology is quite similar. You have seen that anyway, they have used also GRC platform databases like i33. We topped up this with the specific database that has been developed also and is devoted to research innovation benchmarking through our RNI specialization tool, where we try to consider the success rate in the Horizon 2020 as an indicator of the strength of certain fields of the participating countries. Then, of course, we also, because they are, as you know, the usual description of smart specialization priorities is bottom up. So you have very different names for the similar activities. So we try to actually cluster the S3 domains or priorities into 8+1 fields, so to somehow simplify the thing and to try to relay the activities with the activities that are kind of prioritized through the pillars of the EUSAIR strategy. So we actually then did specialization by clustered smart specialization domains priorities that are encoded in i33, similarly like in the EUSAIR project that you have just seen. The additional thing that we try to do, so we try to focus a bit more on a few recommendations for the enhanced cooperation within the Adriatic Ionian region, but also through the overall Southeast European research and innovation cooperation. So this is the results in a way. I'm not sure if you can see it very well. This comes out from the Horizon 2020 projects that have been somehow, this relative research and innovation specialization has been somehow related to the clustered smart specialization domain, so to the group of the clustered domains. And you can see here that it's not seen very well, but there is a circle there that presents number one, presents the overall average success rate of the EU. So the blue and the kind of reddish lines are representing the blue is EU member states in the Adriatic Ionian macro region, and the orange line is, the red line is the overall EUSAIR participating countries, and the orange, light orange color is associated countries. So the 5 associated countries, they are associated to the Horizon, and they are non-EU partners of the Adriatic Ionian region. So you can see that, this figure can show you that actually the EU member states and regions strongly influence the overall EUSAR success rate, so to say. So of course the weight of these countries is very strong. That's why the overall EUSAR is almost the same as the EU member state partners of the EUSAR, as you can see here. Whereas this other line that I'm showing, I'm not sure if you can see actually the mouse. This other part belongs to the associated countries, so the 5 Western Balkan countries. So you can see that they have some strengths that go beyond the overall EUSAR and the EUSAR member states success. So they have some strengths in some fields where the member states from the EUSAR are not so strong. So this also shows certain potentials and possibilities for these countries to excel. This is the research innovation viewer that I mentioned. It is available on our website, and it actually can give you benchmarks between the regions and
Aleš, we cannot hear you. Are you still with us?
countries with.
You're back.
Actually down to beneficiaries and project information and much more. So you're invited to check it. The link is there. Well, this is the other part of the study that I mentioned on the alignment of smart specialization priorities in the Adriatic-Ionian macro region. As you can see, based on keywords, on main keywords, we have clustered these priorities or smart specialization domains into 8 fields plus additional one that which is actually composed of everything that could not fit in the 8 more like thematic areas. The principle is similar, like has been described by Domagoj in a way. So I won't go into details here. And here is actually the result of the territorial level that covers 34 areas, territorial units across the EUSAR macro region. All these encoded priorities have been kind of grouped into these 8+1 categories. So we need to note that in the I33 tool, North Macedonia is not covered, so we have no information on that. We tried to somehow introduce the results of their quantitative mapping of economic research and innovation potential in the ongoing S3 process at the national level. However, this is not exactly the same as the priorities that actually come out from the entrepreneurial discovery process that is kind of coming next for the country. For Albania, the situation is kind of similar, but we at least had here encoded in the I33 some overall research and innovation priorities that I think that come from some kind of national innovation or research strategy. So of course it's not smart specialization, and the same is for Bosnia and Herzegovina. They have been some time ago, we have been provided some national strategy. I think it was research strategy, so we encoded this in the I33. Of course, the idea ideally would be that for all the countries we would have actually smart specialization priorities, not the combination of smart specialization and other priorities, because of course the other priorities are usually top down. They have nothing to do with this kind of typical smart specialization process that involves very heavily the SMEs and well the industrial partners and companies, whereas this top down is basically more like politically decided priorities. So this is the result. Is in total there were 184 smart specialization priorities encoded. Well, smart specialization mostly, whereas for the non-EU countries there were, as I mentioned, for Bosnia, Herzegovina, for Albania, there were research and innovation priorities, whereas for Montenegro and for Serbia we tried to include already their smart specialization priorities. So they were clustered in these domains, and these are the results. So overall, of course, if you sum up, they don't always sum up to the total, because some of these priorities actually address different domains. No? So to say, one priority can at the same time address better society, but can also at the same time address ICT in a way. So if you sum up all this, you will not get the total. So that's just for information. Based on that, we tried to actually correlate this with the Adriatic Ionian region strategy pillars and the sub priority areas of these pillars. Again, here, just to mention, so that you will not think that at JRC we are not able even to sum. The sums in the horizontal, in the rows, and also in vertically, they don't match, because for the same reason, because some priorities may have aspects in various these sub priority areas of pillars, and that way they are counted 2, 3 or more times, because they have different aspects. Yeah. So out of this, we actually identified 4 to 5 areas which have potential for greater cooperation and for greater research and innovation cooperation with the rest of the Europe and beyond. So some of them are typical for the whole EUSAIR area, but in some, like for example, you will see later for ICT and in health and well-being, actually the non-EU partners in the EUSAIR, so the Western Balkan country, actually have some competitive advantages because they are doing better than the rest of the EU in this field. So this particularly ICT and health and well-being. So here you can see the sum up of all this. So this is basically potential for smart specialization cooperation in the Adriatic Ionian region on these prevailing grouped S3 domains. So the whole region is very strong in better societies, in sustainable energy, in climate and environmental sciences, in agri-food, and in health and well-being. In particular, basically the Western Balkan countries, so the five partners that are not part of the EU as yet, they have some competitive advantage, and they could excel in addition on the electronic technologies and ICT and in the health and well-being, because based on results in the horizon, they are better than the EU average in these fields. So there's a potential there. I wanted to touch upon also a little bit on concrete cooperation around the smart specialization priorities, because if we are talking about the smart specialization that is forging strategic partnerships and cooperation between the Western Balkan countries and the EU, so for which EUSAIR strategy is actually a very nice framework. You can see here, well, there's just for comparison the regional innovation scoreboard information for the region, where you can see a little bit the status of as innovator in the regions, the status on innovation, and then you can see here the 3 thematic smart specialization platforms with its partnerships, with its corresponding partnerships. You can see here that there is still a large potential. Mainly the Western Balkan countries are as yet not really fully represented in those partnerships, where, for example, Italian regions and Greek regions, but also Croatia and Slovenia are quite importantly represented. Yeah? So as a kind of sum up, to be quick, these are some recommendations that for the Adriatic Ionian and overall South European research and innovation cooperation that we could get from this first preliminary analysis. The existing benchmarking and comparison show in total lack of the smart specialization and research and innovation information for Western Balkan country partners. So we know that, of course, with another project, we are supporting the Western Balkan countries to develop their smart specialization strategies. Some of the colleagues mentioned this in their short presentation before. Of course, until they finalize the smart specialization strategies, this is typically the information is missing. No, so you have seen we could perhaps just to have certain information, we took the results of the quantitative mapping of economic research and innovation potential for North Macedonia. But this is not the same. I mean, these things tend to change through the entrepreneur discovery process that has not been done yet in the country. Similarly with Albania, and even more so in Bosnia and Herzegovina, where you heard that they have not even started, so to say, with the process. So there have been no mapping done so far. Then Horizon 2020 collaboration indicates strengths in some domains and relative research and innovation specialization of some countries and regions in this territory. So you have seen there that although overall strengths in the number, in the figures, is of the EUSAIR member states, EU member states, they are, and regions, they are very much stronger because they completely overshadow the participation of the Western Balkan partners of the region, but still there are some that are where overall all the EUSAIR partners are competitive, are more competitive than, so to say, rest of Europe, no? And these fields are better societies that include services, tourism, culture and creative industries, no? Then sustainable energy, climate and environmental sciences, and agri-food. And there are some S3 domains or priorities with the highest cooperation potential for the region with the overall EU impact. And there are some like ICT and health and well-being, which are actually present, but with a limited strengths if we speak about these EU partners, so the EU EUSAIR partners, so the 4 EU member states. However, they are for a change, the Western Balkan partners are strong there, so they could excel there. They have a potential there. It's also important to say that the active engagement of the EUSAIR and overall Southeastern European territories, if we speak also about the rest of the countries that are represented, for example, in the Danube macro-regional strategy, their representation in the thematic smart specialization partnerships, and also in the corresponding European strategic cluster partnership for smart specialization investment, which are more like a cluster that is integrating the companies, no? So to say, this is the other part of the pole. If we talk about partnerships, we talk more about the involvement of the public authorities, and the European strategic cluster partnership for smart specialization investment are more addressing the clusters and the companies. So this would ensure support through the line EU policy, so through other DGs that could enhance cooperation of the Southeastern European territories with its Western European peers and make them in a way more resilient to the societal grand challenges. We have seen now what happened with the coronavirus, and it actually has a major impact, much more impact on the economies that are a bit weaker, that are less competitive, and so on. And then last but not least, the research and innovation policies and cooperation support instruments in the region need to be improved in order to be more efficient and more resilient. So and we are convinced that the smart specialization process can help in this. So this is all from my side. I'll be happy to answer to some questions if there are any. Many thanks.
Thank you very much, Aleš. We have about 3 minutes before we have to go on our break. So is there maybe any questions or reflections on Domagoj's and Aleš's presentation from anyone? I think Goras here has some points he would like to make. So Goras, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Simona. Thank you, both of you. I believe that you took the right, you picked the right important points from both of the presentations. One from the, let's say, from the top, from the view of the Commission, and what Aleš is doing from the JRC is Really, he's doing a really good, tremendous job. But I am really pleased that Domagoj presented the concrete potentials, how they put it, how they find the opportunities within this region for joint collaboration in the future. Meanwhile, Aleš did the broader picture, gave us the broader picture. Why I wanted to say is that I believe that from such strategic projects like EUSAIR was, somehow mapping, seeing where we are, where we are putting all our efforts and to achieve our critical mass, we see that there lie opportunities if we step together in that areas. Not only in the areas where we are good or the best, but the message should be to cooperate in the areas where we can complement each other, and there where we should be stronger. And why I'm saying this is we had similar experience as the EUSAIR was when the government office was in another strategic project called S3 for Art Clusters, where we identify so-called synergy diamonds, and where the opportunities lie in the area of the 9 involved regions, including Slovenia. And we came to the more or less the same potentials or the same areas as you were saying. You were presenting, especially you also, Aleš, thank you for this, that you point to one important thing, that sometimes we are misled by the name of the priorities. We should go more in deep, and you said that you try to combine the input into, let's say, different namings into under one name, and that helps a lot. And I see that also that Commission recognizes the potential, and that the Commission will also in the future stipulate the capitalization of such findings, that we all together will have the opportunity to work further. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Here is a comment from Roberta. After COVID, the green and digital transformation for the recovery of the most affected sectors, such as health and tourism, find place inside EUSAIR RIS3 strategy. Domagoj and Aleš, would you care to comment on this?
Well, to a certain extent, at least the tourism is there. So the two subsections or sub priorities or priority areas within the tourism pillar could easily address this in especially the sustainable, the one on sustainable tourism should address this. So this is just a matter of organizing within the pillar the activities. Now the health, it's another issue. I mean, so far health, as far as I see, it's not part of it, at least not explicitly. No, it might be implicitly there in the different forms of tourism, if they would be related to well-being and stuff. But indeed, I mean, this is an important issue that needs to be addressed. But this needs to be decided at the, I suppose, in the steering committee of the EUSAIR, where the highest national authorities and regional authorities of all the participating regions and countries should decide. It's always possible to, especially after this kind of impacting major crisis, that it is decided to amend the strategy, the overall strategy, and add a certain pillar. So it's a political issue. And then the RIS3, I mean, you all know that actually the overall EUSAIR, so the macro-regional RIS3 strategy, does not exist. So what has been done by EUSAIR is basically the first steps of analysis of economic research, innovation potentials of all the participating regions and countries. Actually, they missed at this point North Macedonia because it was not a partner as yet. So this would, to a certain extent, need to be repeated to include also the North Macedonia. But of course, it would be useful if they would already have at least the results of the entrepreneur discovery process of their smart specialization strategy, so that they would have certain priorities that would be a bit better fixed than now, because this mapping is actually a result of the past activities. Has nothing to do with the previous and with the potential for the future priorities. So it's actually a super difficult process, because in order to have kind of macro-regional smart specialization strategy, a very comprehensive macro-regional stakeholder involvement process or entrepreneur discovery process should be done, and this is super difficult. I mean, nobody has done it, not even in the Baltic Sea region, where they are much more advanced with their research processes at the national and regional level. So it remains to be seen, but it's to be decided by the EUSAIR structure. So,
well, we are lucky to have Mrs. Yarina here, and she would also like to follow up on this question.
Well, thank you for the question. When we speak about the sustainable tourism as such, this is one of the pillars of the Adriatic Union strategy, and the governing board in its meeting in June actually agreed upon 5 flagship projects within the sustainable tourism. But all this process, which was actually the result of a very intensive work within the thematic steering group of the last 2 years, actually did take place before the COVID crisis. So we have to reflect also all the joint agreements so far from the new perspective, of the crisis. And one of the very good steps forward was taken, as I already mentioned, within our macro-regional strategies week. Actually, the first exchange of the ideas on how to approach the recovery in the tourism sector, post-COVID recovery, with the collaboration between all 4 macro-regional strategies, based on the impact assessment of what this could really happen, that was provided or commissioned by the European Commission services. So we are trying to reflect that particular issue, because we have a functioning network within the sustainable tourism pillar. When we speak about the health sector, this was not the topic to be discussed within the macro-regional strategies, nor it was the European policy. That was a national policy. But the recent crisis actually showed that we also have to deal with the health sector at the European level in a coordinated manner, because we could not address the issue sufficiently well within the national borders. So this is the challenge in front of us. We will, now we are awaiting the evaluation of the EUSAIR. We are working for 6 years. Now we have to take stock whether we need to reflect the outside changes and the way how we are working, and maybe modify, upgrade the action plan, define new topics which we need to focus. So actually everything is in front of us. And we definitely see that area of the smart specialization, that part will play very important roles in future. Thank you.
Okay. So we still have one question from Mrs. Branka Žižić, but because we're already running a little late, I would suggest that we take now our 20-minute break. So we would reconvene at 12:10, and we have quite a bit of time left at the end of the event for discussing the open questions. So if it's okay for everyone, I would say goodbye for the next 20 minutes and see you at 10 minutes after 12. Okay? Thank you, everyone. See you.
Thank you.
But without further ado, I would like to give the word to Borastenko. He will present the smart specialization strategy and the EDB process in Slovenia for the next period, and I will share his presentation.
Hello. Hi. Do you hear me? Huh?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
And do you see the presentation as well? It's visible. Okay. Okay, my job is okay. Since we are the hosts, someone has to start, and the presentation of our getting to know each other better. And the presentation goes. I hope the main challenge now will be to be as it was planned in 10 or 15 minutes. We could talk a little over an hour, 10 minutes. Thank you, Simona. So first of all, where we are now, and do you see our abbreviation is already S4, so Slovenia Smart Specialization Strategy, and where we want to go or why we are doing all this process. Okay, the first, just a few words about the process, how it went to have what we now have in Slovenia. Our S4 is based on strong empirical basis. As you see, we did all the job, we think at least, and we are quite sure that we did it right. Then the mapping the relevant policies and their instruments. And the most important, we really, at that time, really did the entrepreneurial discovery process. So building from the bottom up. Just really few words. You will receive anyhow after, I believe, all the presentations and what we are targeting in our S4. These are the goals, but the ambition is that Slovenia comes from a follower to a co-creator of global trends in niche areas. I believe. Okay. These what we have done, so the empirical basis mapping and especially the entrepreneurial discovery process and how we came, we have done it through 4 main pillars, I would say. One, we come to the priorities and to, let's say, certain level of concentration of our efforts. Then the very important aspect is the cooperation and collaboration. Then the consistency of the document and the importance for Slovenia of internationalization. The main here you see our main priorities somehow grouped into 3 big groups, and of course I will not go and repeat all 9 of our let's say areas, priority areas, but you can see it and you will see it also later on. Since we have all 9, we are really Slovenia is a good example, or good let's say good example of matching the priorities where we have. So we still have to work a little bit to concentrate more in the next period. Now it's not working. Okay, you will excuse us. So, okay, besides the 9 vertical priority areas, we have also included horizontal ones. Into smart cities, you see we have the ICT, and within the industry 4.0, we have the smart integrates the CATS, so nanotech, robotics, process control technologies, and photonics. What lies underneath, of course, this is completely not visible, and this is how it's structured into when identified the focus areas and technologies within each of these 9 priorities. This is the table that came out. What is important? Thank you. What is important is that each of this you can see one example, for instance, in the field of materials as end products. The focus area and technologies are grouped into steels and special alloys, aluminium, and so on. And then you have the product also further on identification of the common research and projects. Okay. The second one, pillar, as we said, is the cooperation and collaboration. The important cooperation and collaboration or the governance. In the governance, field, we to enhance the cooperation and collaboration, we completely rechanged or reshuffled what has been known and used in Slovenia till that time, since no document or no strategy has been. The governance was really on the multi-level governance, while the S4 lies on the multi-governance principle. That means that the strategic research and innovation partnerships built around all 9 priorities are equal partner with the states on the in the governance and the future development of the S4. So, the research, as I said, strategic research and innovation partnership. This is the essence of the governance, where all the stakeholders join together to give to the state suggestions and all where to go in the further development. New one. This is also again a little bit about SLIPs. New one, please. So this is where we are about the consistency and policy mix. The policy mix. The important thing is that we somehow succeeded to establish at the state level a good, functioning coordination system, where everything what is financed from the and related to RTDIs, SMEs, and to a certain extent also to human resources is aligned with the S4. It has to be aligned in the S4, all the measures. However, there is still some room for improvement. The next slide is also about the consistency, how it is structured, and the policy mix. The policy mix is done out of non-financial support and financial support. We all the time emphasize also the non-financial support aspect, which is important, and here is where the state, together with the stakeholders, can do a lot of change. In the financial support, we even succeeded what it was, even overpassed what it was planned, and nowadays we have already spent practically all the money for, or at least it is committed all the measures and all the money what was related to the RTDI and to entrepreneurship. And to human resources, we overpassed it by around, it was now committed already around 180 million from cohesion policy, from the ESF. The policy mix is combined, as you know, from the RDI. This is the first one. You know, the second slide, please, is the human resources part, and the next one, and the entrepreneurship. So, the internationalization is the fourth important pillar of the Slovenian smart specialization strategy. As you see, Slovenia has significantly improved the internationalization part. Is we joined some of the platforms, some of the initiatives. We are in the other EITs. We intensified the regional cooperation and so on. So now we come to this is where we are, or where we have been. You know that in the EU legislation, there has been some changes, and we already now the Slovenian current S4 concept already involves all necessary pillars for to play as an enabling condition for cohesion funds to use the cohesion funds after 2020. However, we believe that we have to do our work further on, and on all 4 pillars, as I said, as I explained it before. So that means that we'll expand even further the role of S4 to other instruments beyond SMART or RDI. Then we will improve the coherence of the policy mix, larger focus on technology transfer and demonstration activities where we till now have not been so successful. We will even further improve the linkages to human resource development, or nowadays called skills for smart specialization. And as you see here, we'll try to foster cross-regional cooperation, also especially this regional aspect and within regions. Multi-level governance and the strategic clusters to strengthen, and above all, we restarted and we really somehow foster the entrepreneurial discovery process to come to the findings and to the conclusions and to the suggestions to make the new or redesign our smart specialization strategy. Please.
Just one brief interruption. Roberta said she doesn't hear clearly. Everybody else is okay? Okay. Roberta, it seems everybody else is okay.
So once again, this is to show you a little bit how we planned our redesigning, and that we inform you already now that Slovenia is really in the heart of the process now of redesigning our smart specialization strategy. We think we'll finish it within the period of 3 to 6 months. And the evaluation, so we will again restart whole process. Now that means that we have to look what we have done till now. The former one, we didn't have any results, of course, because it was completely new. So now we have to see what our system and our SRIPs and all the stakeholders have delivered. So in terms of the indicators, then of course we will again go to new empirical analysis, and of course the lessons from we will add also the lessons from the pilot action on industrial transition, and of course the heart is entrepreneurial discovery process again. That means already within our SRIPs and also outside our SRIPs, because there is a lot happening on the ground, and we have to take into consideration also that. All these, please go again. So these bubbles that you have seen before, at this point of stage, we don't know if they will still remain, because we want to concentrate further. But what we know already now, and it has changed already, that the table that I have shown you before has already changed and will change even further. So in terms of focus areas and technologies, even if we would stay with all these priorities, there will be the concentration below this level. However, at least what I can say is that due to new Green Deal, what we have, and also due to our experience with implementation till now, that for sure circular and for circular economy will be embedded horizontally in all the vertical domains. Here it will just be the evolution. Please go away, go further, not away. Sorry. What we are always courageous and we dare to make changes, and also our ambition when we come to our, as we call it as 5, I believe, is that we will include the quintuple helix or the 5th helix, 5 elements of the helix. You are aware of that, and we will certainly try our best to that our future smart specialization will look like it is. So again, about coherence and consistency, the new one will have to take into consideration all these principles that it already took. It will be well embedded. So we are working together with different ministries and aligned with the Slovenian development strategy, with RIS, with the new digital agenda, with our Slovenian industrial policy, with skills strategy, and so on. In this will help us the coordination system, which is already well functioning. And about the policy mix, here's what I want to stop for 1 minute further, is that we are happy to be able to exploit fully the new EU legislation framework, and will invest significantly into all 4 specific objectives under policy objective 1. Which, what you already know, this means that we will invest in RDI, in digitalization, in entrepreneurship and SMEs, and the skills for smart specialization. We are here very, very happy that the legislation followed our example of our current S4, that people and skills of people are important for the results of the smart specialization on the ground. Here we will in the area here I have to make an important message that the career platform, so-called, that means the anticipation of skills needed in the future, is an important tool which we are developing, and some of our SRIPs are already using in that terms. And the skills, the trainings and the education and trainings, which we'll do for all the stakeholders involved in the S4 process. We believe that also the people who are dealing with the implementation of the S3 or S4 are have to participate equally and be very, very skilled. Okay, here is my last slide, and this is that we will of course foster even harder the internationalization. That means that in the thematical field, in the innovation communities and institutions, and on regional. That means bilateral and multilateral. On the regional, our focus will be in the strategic cooperation in neighboring areas. That means what include, and this is also why we are here today. And it was a little bit already said before, the capitalization from strategic projects, findings, and opportunities that lie in the identified opportunities. And that's on the next one. That means where we are positioned. So that you see also other, it's not this, but is Adriatic Ionian area is one of for our regional, let's say, priorities for cooperation. And that's all. That here is the reality. A lot of work, a lot of challenges, and here you have all the people who are currently working in the S4 team. That means 5. One of them is happily on the maternity leave, and so it's 4.
Okay.
Thank you.
You took more than 10 minutes.
I know.
Okay. Aleš, we see your comment. I suggest we reflect on that later on. Actually, now Mrs. Linda Pustina was scheduled to start with her presentation, but she asked if we could move her to the end. So, Mrs. Tanja Lucic from Bosnia and Herzegovina, can you say a few words?
Yes, I can. Do you hear me?
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Few words. As I told you, we are at the beginning of the process. We are still awaiting for approval from the Council of Ministers the decree on nomination of the working group members for development of the S3 strategy for Bosnia and Herzegovina. So we have a nomination of Directorate for Economic Planning to coordinate the process. We prepared that decree on nomination of the working group, and we just gave it to the Council of Ministers. We delivered it to the Council of Ministers to approve it and to step into the process finally. So we are here. We will definitely follow your methodology and would need your help and support, of course. So one step at a time, we will inform everybody about any improvement that we have. So we are here waiting. So if you have any questions, I'm here.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. George Alexakis from Region of Crete, can you share with us how is it going with your region? Hello, George, are you with us? Can you turn on the microphone, please, George? You're muted. Okay. George, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
your microphone is on now. Great, thank you. So can you present briefly the situation with S3 in your region?
Yes. Yes. Just to share my screen.
Yes, we
Is
see
it
it. Thank
okay
you.
now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting region of Crete to this interesting meeting for smart specialization strategy in EUSAIR. Congratulations to Slovenian presidents for the excellent organization of the macro-regional strategies week, and also we welcome North Macedonia as the 9th member of EUSAIR. Greece, with all 13 regions, is joining EUSAIR, with region of Crete has been dynamically participated in all EUSAIR steps from consultation and preparation of the action plan, followed by active participation in meetings, conference, also thematic steering groups, having regional perspective for each pillar. Could you see my region on the southeast of EUSAIR? That is why we fully understand and support such a meeting, focusing not only on the implementation of the macro-regional strategy, but also to new innovative projects through smart specialization strategy. The RIS in Crete has been drafted and approved by our regional council by focusing on 4 thematic pillars. The first is the agro-food, the second is the culture and tourism, the third one is the environmental, and the fourth is the knowledge. On 2017, we launched on regional entrepreneurial discovery with a bottom-up approach by engaging all graduable helix stakeholders. I mean, research centers and academia, public sector, SMEs and citizens. We received many proposals and innovative ideas, and we have managed to highlight specific priorities for each smart specialization pillar. In addition, looking deeper into 4 thematic pillars of our regional smart specialization strategy, there have been specific maritime priorities related with, first, agrofood, about food from marine resources, pharmaceutical projects and cosmetics. Second, about the culture and tourism complex. Related is the diving tourism, the demonstration project to promote diving tourism. On the third pillar of environment, the protection of marine environment and biodiversity, the blue technologies and marine renewable energy, special arrangements in coastal and marine areas. On the fourth pillar, about knowledge, the scope is strengthening marine research infrastructure. And finally, the improvement of knowledge and skills, including maritime, as an horizontal priority. This information has been published in a study of CPMR in November 2015 for regional smart specialization strategies and blue growth. Let's see a few project examples. First, funded by our operational program. There are 2 projects. The first one is about displaying system for meteorological, bioclimatic, and oceanographic information for tourist applications. And the second one is about recreational diving courses with artificial reefs. Second, projects come from interregional cooperation like IDEREG-MED. There are 3 projects. The first one is the Mistral, the Mediterranean Innovation Strategy for transnational activity of clusters and networks of the blue growth. The second one is the Blue Phasma, the empowering innovation capacity of SMEs, maritime cluster and networks in MED islands and coastal areas to support blue circular economy growth in fishing and aquaculture. The third one is the Panoramet, the famous Mediterranean governance platform. Also, and in the regional cooperation through the IDEREG EU, where we have 2 projects. The first one is the Capon Leader, capitalizing good coastal practice and improving policies to prevent marine litter. And the second one is the Replace project, about regional policy actions for circular economy, and more others. Finally, the most important thing is what we have learned, and of course, what we need. We have learned that there is a low level of cooperation between enterprises, small number of networks and clusters. The second point is that there is a very limited cooperation between enterprises and research bodies. The third point is that there is an early stage entrepreneurship is currently at very low level. And finally, there is a high need to support entrepreneurship and overcome shortcomings compared to other EU regions. And for that reasons, we need European Commission services to support us for further enhance regional capacity and speaking for blue growth to boost innovative projects for emergent blue economy sectors at Greece. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alexis. So now we move on, and the next speaker is Mr. Stefano Valentini from Emilia, Romagna. Stefano, are you with us?
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well. Mr. Alexis, could you please stop sharing your screen? And Stefano, you're more than welcome to share your screen.
Okay, but I don't have any presentation. So if you would like, I got a video. Maybe we can see a video.
Yes, of course. I think it's the same process. You share your screen and play the video.
Okay, I will try to do this.
Mr. Alexakis, can you please stop sharing your screen for us? Okay, Stefano.
Yeah.
Okay, you can start sharing your screen.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. I don't have a lot of time. How much time I got it?
Well, in the agenda it says 6 minutes per country, or per region, but we know that that is hard to obey, so we have some leeway.
Okay, but just while I'm talking, you can follow the video. So 5-10 minutes is not a lot to speak about this very complex and long process we did for smart specialization strategy in our region. So I just point out some key elements of what we did in this programming period, and some key elements relating to the future, to what we are going to do. As I told at the beginning, we are the innovation agency of Emilia-Romagna region in Italy, in the north part of Italy, and we are in charge of drafting, design, implementing, and monitoring the smart specialization strategy of our region. As you can see from the video, our specialization strategy was focused on 5 specialization areas and 4 priority strategies. The 5 specialization areas reflect our main sector, which are basically the pillar of our economy. So the 3 which are mechanics, agro-food, and buildings. Then as a second priority strategy, we also focus on high potential sector, and in particular the one related to healthcare system, so life science, and innovation and cultural creative industries. So during the process of implementing this activity on those 5 specialization areas, we developed the creation of cluster, so some specific cluster focused on innovation activity. So we developed these clusters which were collecting industries, but also innovation, the ecosystem of innovation, so innovation research laboratories and whatever. So at the end of this programming period, we have 5 clusters, one for each specialization area. So agro-food cluster, mechatronics, mechanics cluster, building cluster, life science cluster, and creative industries cluster. And also we foresee the importance of having also cross-cutting cluster related to cross-cutting issues, in particular related to strategic priority C, which is related to C and D, which are related to sustainable green and blue growth economy and digital economy. So at the end, we got additional 3 clusters, one related to digital, one related to green tech technologies, and one related to big data system. So the smart specialization strategies in our region was really important because for the first time we had an instrument, a policy instrument that was focused on innovation in particular, but also that integrated funds. So as the funds were integrated in only one policy innovation tools, and at the end we involved something like more than 2,400 million euro of funding with this policy. So regarding the future, we are taking advantage of this experience, of course. So we are not rewriting papers or analysis, but just we are going through this mechanism, and in particular we are going to improve the mechanism, in particular taking advantage of the concept of mission, as was mentioned before from the speaker before me. So we are looking to adapt our concept to the mission or oriented policy concept, and so we are working on 15 policy, let's say, thematic issue, strategic issue, which our region will have to face in the future, and in which we will combine these 15 challenges, let's say 15 missions within our ecosystem of innovation, organized, as I said before, in the 7 innovation clusters. So we will talk, just to go briefly, to energy issue, circular economy, climate change, blue growth issue, new materials, digital and big data, manufacturing 4.0, space economy, smart mobility, cities, wellness, healthy system, social innovation, participation, and cultural heritage. So this is what we are going in the process of debating those missions, let's say, together to our ecosystem of innovation. Our ecosystem of innovation is built by all the triple helix, quadruple helix system. So we are talking about something like 90 research innovation labs, all our industry systems. So we are trying to open this debating in the next during the winter. We already write some overviews on those 15 policy mission issues, and we will present to our ecosystem and we will debate with them. And we expect that at the end of the year we will have a more approved referring document. I also would like to thank George, because spoke about Mistral. Mistral is another project in which Arthur and me in person I'm working for, and in that particular project we try to map all the smart specialization strategies in something like 10 regions, on particularly focus on blue growth issue. I'm really happy to see that our concept is very similar to the one of EUSAIR project, and also that and I knew that also was in line with what JRC did. So maybe in the chat box I will put some references, so you can see our tool. Last thing, I will also put some one web link. Unfortunately, it's in Italian, related to the monitoring of RIS3 implementation, which for us was really challenging, because it was the first time that we developed a tool for monitoring and to share to our citizens what we are doing with the public fund which are managing related to RIS3 implementation.
Thank you, Stefano. Now I would like to invite Mrs. Branka Žižić from Montenegro, if she could take over her presentation. And Stefano, please stop sharing your screen.
Yes, I just have to.
Thank you, Simona.
Branka, we can hear you. Yes, just give us a second. Okay. Just 1 second, so you could share your screen. Okay.
Okay.
I think now you can make yourself the presenter. Stefano, thank you. And we see your presentation, Branka.
Okay, just a second to make it like a slideshow. Yeah, is it okay?
Yes, it's okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, so hello again. Okay, we are shifting from some of the most innovative regions in Europe to some of the least ones. Montenegro is a beginner in the process of implementing smart specialization strategy, and in this presentation I will tell you how the process went and where we are standing now, and what are the next challenges for us, in the hope to coordinate better and to extend collaboration with other partners in the Adriatic Ionian region. So, okay, I'm trying to change the. Okay, so actually we are pretty proud to say that Montenegro is the first EU candidate country to develop and adopt the smart specialization strategy. Our government adopted it in June 2019, and it was validated by the European Commission in December 2019. And the vision for the smart specialization of Montenegro is to have a healthy, sustainable, and digitalized country. And also you can see our strategic priorities: sustainable agriculture and food value chain, energy and sustainable environment, sustainable and health tourism, and information and communication technologies as a horizontal priority. This slide shows the dynamics of S3 development in Montenegro, where we started in 2017 And in March 2018, we completed the quantitative analysis. In May the same year, we completed the qualitative analysis with the support of JRC. We also entered the JRC Smart Specialization platform from the start. We carried out the very intensive entrepreneurial discovery process from May 2018 until January 2019. And there we had around 50 EDP workshops and 4 large conferences where we had more than 500 unique participants in the whole process. As I said, in mid-2019, the government adopted it, and we got verification as a nice information and news at the end of last year. I can say that the important characteristics of the whole process of developing the S3 strategy was a strong political commitment and leadership, especially by our Minister of Science, Ms. Sanja Damjanovic. But we also had big support from the Prime Minister, Duško Marković, and also a high-level body which was constituted as a part of a first step in the implementation of the S3, the Smart Specialization and Innovation Council. I also wanted to share with you, because of maybe some countries which are now in the process of developing the Smart Specialization, once you receive the opinion of the European Commission on the verification of the Smart Specialization strategy, you also receive one table with technical recommendations following the conditionally positive assessment of the strategy. In the left column, you can see the remarks we received from the Commission, and we are now being also followed up how we are addressing them through our EU negotiation dialogue with the European Union. We can say that we are addressing all the points that are mentioned at from the European Commission. One important news for us that this year, for the first time, we entered the European Innovation Scoreboard, where we are ranked as the modest innovator. But at least we have this baseline, and we can now follow the achievements and the impact of the Smart Specialization. One comment of the Commission was that we also need to further refine the priority domains, and in that respect, we started to work on the operational programs for priority domains. And we are very happy that there are a lot of analytical materials being produced from what we saw from the JRC, but also from the project which Mr. Šarić presented. And all of this is going to be very helpful for us, I'm sure, for these operational programs. Although we had very intensive entrepreneurial discovery process, we can say that we still have challenges in finding ways how to keep it a constant process. And now we plan to reactivate the groups more directly again through this operational programs preparation. On the side of the governance structure for the Smart Specialization, we created the council, as I mentioned, but also a secretariat that supports it, and we received the UNDP support for that. We also implemented legal changes for establishment of the Innovation Fund of Montenegro as a main implementing agency for Smart Specialization. And this new law was adopted in August this year. We also created the S3 operational group with different line ministries participating in it. We also have a national regulation now in place to ensure monitoring and evaluation of strategies, but we definitely need the improvement of our indicators and data, which was also mentioned by Aleš. What we also need to work more is the connection of smart specialization with the industrial policy. This is still a challenge for us that we are finding ways how to address. But in that respect, we also see a big need to better connect with the foreign direct investment strategies and financial instruments allocation, which are also very important measures for implementing industrial policy. We are working on having a really good monitoring mechanism and regular reporting, which will ensure high quality implementation of the strategy. This is a short overview of our innovation system, and just to tell you that these central units of this system were introduced as part of the S3 strategy implementation with the mentioned legal changes that we adopted this August. As far as the funding is concerned, here is a small overview of different funding instruments that we have in our government related to research and innovation. They are mainly implemented by the Ministry of Science, but we also have participation from the Ministry of Economy, Ministry of Culture, and Ministry of Agriculture. These are the major funding lines that are related to innovation. The yellow part, the gray part is more focused on research, and the red is coming from the EU funding lines. And I can say that 4 of these funding instruments are explicitly related to the S3 implementation in the calls for proposals. While the others are a part of the action plan of the smart specialization, but they definitely need to be more and more directly linked to the S3 in their design. I can say that regarding the Horizon 2020, the methodology also, which Aleš mentioned, that we can recognize our specialization areas by success in Horizon 2020. This is showing true for us, because practically all of the Horizon 2020 projects in Montenegro are actually in line with the smart specialization priorities. Just some concluding remarks and challenges that we have, since some say that smart specialization is like a mother strategy for other strategies, and that should go across all the other strategies. We do still have challenges to achieve that, so that the mother takes care of all the children. Also to find ways how to this economic reform program, which is very often this non-financial, as Goraz mentioned, non-financial instruments that need to be better defined, and that could integrate the whole reform process in the country. We also need better coordination of use of EU instruments, education and training, and general knowledge base to support S3 needs to be much better and looked at in a holistic way with the smart specialization. We also look forward to a strategic international networking, and this is why this macro-regional approach is very important for us. As I mentioned, this channeling of foreign direct investments, financial instruments, capital investments, which are the major levers for the country's orientation, needs to be better connected to the S3. And of course, always this administrative capacity for S3 implementation is something that we, I think all the countries, especially the smaller ones, are struggling with, and that that we are trying to find ways also together with different donors how to address. So thank you for your attention, and we are here for any cooperation and contact. You can contact me or colleagues here in the given contacts. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Here is a comment from Eleni from DG Mare. Eleni, would you like to make a comment now or after all the presentations?
I think it would be better after the presentations.
Okay, no problem. Okay, Branka.
Just a second. Okay, Just a second, I'm trying to expand this window. Okay.
Okay, you're good.
Yes, okay, yeah.
So our next presenter is Mrs. Jasmina Majstorovska from North Macedonia. Jasmina, are you with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Best regards to Slovenia as a host of this conference. It is a pleasure to be part of it, especially as a newcomers in the initiative. So here is the first time that we are talking about smart specialization, because this conversation was mainly with GRC and RCC in the recent period. So we look forward to our active participation and collaboration in the initiatives and projects in order to learn and to continue contribute in better regional cooperation and future EU integration. The Republic of North Macedonia launched the process for development of smart specialization strategy in 2018 as a comprehensive model for sustainable economic growth based on capacities of the endogenous industry, science, and society. So it should be linked and add value to the existing industrial policy, competitiveness strategy, innovation strategy, and R&D strategy. So the objective of the smart specialization is to identify the areas of specialization where the country achieves competitive and potential advantage in order to maximize the effects of the public investment. The process of the smart specialization strategy development is following GRC methodology, and we have established regular cooperation with GRC in leading the process. Also, smart specialization is part of the National Program of Adoption of a Key in the Chapter 25 and 20. The working group that was consisted by the Ministry of Education and Science is led by the Ministry of Education and Science and Ministry of Economy jointly, and it is consisted of representatives from the key ministries, governmental institutions, chambers of commerce, and the representatives from the university. Following GRC methodology, the quantitative mapping is completed, and it will be followed by additional qualitative analysis in order to validate the results of the mapping report. In the quantitative mapping, based on the assessments of the economic innovation and scientific capacities and potentials, 19 industry sections are selected and promoted as a base for development of the National Smart Specialization Strategy. So from the manufacturing, it is a dominant industry section, represent 11 subsequent industrial groups. Information and communication represents with 6 subsequent industrial groups. And finally, the last industry section is accommodation and food service activities, represented with 2 subsequent industrial groups. So the qualitative analysis supported by GRC should identify the S3 potential priority domains that will be subject to EDP. The analysis is based on interviews that are already taking place, led by the Chamber of Commerce. So topic of discussion is going to be about sector development, specific value chains for priority domains, vision for the growth, challenges and trends. And one of the topics for discussion with the relevant stakeholders is the impact, challenges and changes that COVID-19 will have on the business, science and new needed skills and policy perspectives. So we are expecting that the Chamber of Commerce after a month or 2 will have the first results after their interviews with the companies. About the proposed potential priority of the area subject to qualitative analysis. So these 19 subsectors we have grouped in 6 bigger groups that are going to be subject to further analysis. There are sustainable food and beverage production and value chains, information and communication technologies, smart sustainable buildings and materials, electrical equipment and mechanical parts, sustainable tourism and catering, and energy for the future. So we are committed to carry out the smart specialization process under the GRC S3 framework, and there is a clear political support from relevant authorities, and we are committed to continue with the process. So we are entering in more complex phases of the process. There are challenges and potential for collaboration and exchange experience from the countries that have completed the process. So the challenges are in the design process, especially the EDP. We have to have an adequate preparation of the EDP process through identification of the key participants in the dialogue from quadruple helix, nurture comprehensive dialogue, define the priorities and design development transformation roadmaps for the selected domains. So it is nice that if we have support from the region, to exchange experience in Serbia and Montenegro that have already completed the EDP. and especially Slovenia with their SRIPs, because from the very beginning we would like to start these strategic research and innovation partnerships, the groups to start discussions and to start creating the relations. So also it is very relevant to consider the experience for leading some EDP sessions for some S3 domains regionally, looking for new potentials in the region. And it is also important to mention that what Linda Pustina from Albania said about the platform for circulation of researchers is also very relevant for starting the first idea, what are the potentials of the region. About the other challenge that is going to come in the next period is about implementation. So it is to create efficient coordination and governance model, continuous EDP that will lead towards further improvement and implementation of the process, providing adequate funding for implementation of the smart specialization by the budget, by the IPA, donors, and other access to EU funds, introduce monitoring and evaluation system. And also what we see that will be also our challenge in the successful implementation is the capacity building of the stakeholders. So it should be on 3 levels because it's a national and regional perspective about capacity building for governmental institutions, for learning good practices in development of adequate policy mix to support implementation of smart specialization, development of projects to provide finances from IPA and participation in regional, in EU S3 platforms and projects. The other pillar should be capacity building of the innovation ecosystem. So further growth of the capacities of the innovation fund, support development of science technology park, development of regional innovation fund, functional innovation and technology transfer centers like Innofay that are going to be presented tomorrow, and other centers utilizing the capacities of the universities. And the third part will be strengthening capacities of the business sector for smart specialization, because we are talking about industrial modernization, developing new business opportunities, new value chains, support company development, innovation, specialization, diversification. So all this digital transformation, greening industry, these are the challenges that are in front of us. So we would like to tackle all these topics with designing the smart specialization package. So we are motivated to deepen the partnership and links to regional cooperation in smart specialization, promoting economic growth and prosperity. And I really look a lot of potentials for further partnerships and joining new initiatives and new projects for the region and the EU in the next phase. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmina. So now the next presenter, just the one before last, is Mr. Viktor Nedovic from Serbia. Viktor, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, feel free to take over.
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, thank you in person, you and Gorazd, and thanks to Slovenia presidency for this kind invitation to join to this discussion, so useful for all of us. Okay, just to move on to the status of our process, of our strategy. Actually, as it is already mentioned, Serbia adopted the strategy in February this year. But before that, we had a really heavy and serious process that took almost 3 years. We started actually in 2017. Before that, we came with some political decisions to start with that. We started almost together, or just before, Moldova and Ukraine, and jointly with them developed in cooperation very strong and very useful and very value cooperation with JRC, the whole process and the methodology as well. I would like also to mention that we had one case even before. Actually, already in 2014, Serbian province Vojvodina adopted the regional smart specialization strategy on the level of the province that was adopted by the regional government. But in 2016, the government decided to develop the strategy on the level of the country, the whole country. And Vojvodina was actually the first region outside of EU member states that adopted the strategy itself. some of the major issues. Actually, the process was or has been done very strictly according to the methodology that is developed by European Commission, by JRC, and in cooperation with JRC, and we really had and still have in our discussions a great participation of the SME sector in that process. That means that during the EDP, at each of the sessions in all 4 cycles in each priority domain, we had the presence of over 50% of the participants that came from SME sector, actually. We finalized the process by the end of the last year, and the strategy has been was adopted in February this year. And the 4 vertical pillars or priority areas in the strategy are industrial and communication technologies. That includes custom software development and software solution development. Then the next pillar is food for future, that includes high-tech agriculture, value-added food products, and sustainable agri-food production. Then creative industries that include creative audio-visual production, video games, and interactive content, and as well as smart packaging. The next vertical pillar or priority area is future machines and manufacturing systems that include general and specific purpose machines, then information in the smart management service, Industry 4.0, and smart components and tools. And we have 2 horizontal ones, energy efficient, that eco-smart solution as the first one, and key enabling technology as the second one. That means it is something that came after the whole process we conducted along these 3 years. At the moment, we are developing the action plan, but also at the moment we are in the huge or deep reform process in our research and innovation sector. That means that we have new law on science and research from the last year. We have the new law on science fund that is created last year and started to work. We have already developed and well-working innovation fund with several very important programs that are most included also in the implementation of the Smart Specialization strategy. Just to mention that our shorteners for the Smart Specialization strategy of Republic of Serbia is not S4 like Slovenia is, but it is 4S to differ from Slovenia that was firstly developed. Yes, in all of this process, we are also, the part of this is also the development of the new strategy of scientific and technological development of Republic of Serbia for the period 2021-2027, and that is really based on the Smart Specialization strategy. Like it is also industrial one that is developed hand by hand or back to back with the Smart Specialization strategy. Based on all of these processes, in particular EDP, Serbia has been recognized by international partners as a good case for the others. And also based on that, recently it is offered to us last year, I think, to become the part of the United Nations Global Pilot Program for the development of STIs, Science, Technology and Innovation Roadmaps for SDGs. Serbia gladly accepted it, and we are now doing 2 processes in parallel. We are developing the action plan for the Smart Specialization strategy, should be finalized by the end of the year. And this action plan should reflect also the STI roadmaps for SDGs. In that context, we are again in close touch and close cooperation with JRC, and we are doing that new methodology development of it together. What we did in this year, it is a pilot methodology for mapping Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, in the context of smart specialization strategy. And the goal was to identify a set of main challenges connected with SDGs in Serbia, and to identify the STI potential that can be mobilized to answer these challenges as a part of the smart specialization strategy. That means by this additional exercise, we identify our potentials, our capacities, but also our gaps. And we will try through this final work on the action plan to cover all of this, and to include the possibilities to also fulfill on the right way the gaps we identified through the process. And finally, as I mentioned at the beginning, we would like very much, in particular myself, as somebody who is very much included in the Danube strategy, to better connect our activities on the level of Adriatic Ionian and the Danube one, and in the priority area 7, that is called knowledge, which title is Knowledge Society. We have one working group that is dealing with the smart specialization strategy in the region of Danube River. And from that perspective, in particular from that perspective, we would like very much to continue this communication and to develop cooperation in the future, closer cooperation. And as I mentioned, as Serbia is in charge to organize the next steering group meeting of Priority Area 7 in October this year, we will very soon come to you with the exact date and the agenda. And if you agree, we will propose to be our guest at the meeting. Thank you very much, and I'm open for your questions. Still, I have to leave the meeting a bit earlier than 2 p.m. because at 2:30 I have another one that should be present in physical means. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nilovic. Now, last but not least, Mrs. Linda Pustina from Albania. Are you here with us? Can you give us a short presentation?
Yes, Simona. Thank you for giving me the floor. Thus, I will present very shortly what we did till now, and then I will try to do some consideration in related to today's meeting. So the process of S3 in Albania started with 2018, creating the working group, the S3 team in Albania. Although some previous meeting has been done from 2016 in the context of wider collaboration between the business sector and university in order to close the gap between the university offer and the business labor needs. So market labor needs. So from that time, we had some difficulties in the process. Part of this were related to the data available, statistical data available that was needed for the S3 process, and partly with difficulties with international expertise, considering that this is a new process in the region, and the experts available are really, let's say, small number. Actually, we are working on the mapping report. We have a preliminary mapping report done by a previous expert, but we asked for reviewing it based also on the new let's say, data that we can that we have collected during this phase of the pandemic, and also to understand better how the priorities has changed due to the pandemic period. So the priorities for Albania that we have identified at the beginning was water and energy, tourism and agritourism, and IT and digital. But obviously with the situation after COVID-19, probably health sector will be also part of the priorities. But let's see how it will be in the future. The process is foreseen to be finalized by 2021, as I said before, and for the first mapping, the team, after discussions and consultation with stakeholders, decided to start with 3 parallel processes. One of them was the brain circulation platform and involving the diaspora in the process. The second one was the skills analysis, skills gap analysis in Albania, and I was really surprised when I see that also Slovenian colleagues have already developed a career platform that will be very useful to exchange also opinions regarding that. Actually, are discussing with UNDP in order to have an update on the last skills gap analysis that was of 3 years ago. And this career platform seems really interesting also for us. So we'll be very happy to exchange this kind of information with Slovenian colleagues regarding this platform. This in view of also understanding better which can be the skills needed for developing the economy and the priorities that we will, let's say, identify during the S3 process. The next phase, let's say, that will start probably with January 2021 is the EDP process. And as also other colleagues and Yasmina said, it will be interesting to have some slots for interregional cooperation and see how these priorities can be combined with other countries in the region. I previously, in one of other previous meeting, I spoke with Yasmina about this cooperation with North Macedonia and Albania being us more or less in the same phase of EDP in order to combine our EDP activities for the regions, for the cross-border regions. So I hope we'll go and together and plan some activities, but also in the context of the macro regions, it will be interesting to see how we can collaborate not only with the Western Balkan 6 economies, but also with the other countries of macro regions, Ionian Adriatic macro regions. For example, as shown before by Mr. Saric, the picture with practically the flow, the trade flow of Albania toward the region, you can know that Albania has a strong exchange in the field, economic exchange with the region. So it have to be also reflected in our S3 as possibilities of collaboration and creating value chains through the macro regions. The other point I would like to share with you is that we have also done study on the clusters with the help of facility support of the European Commission. And now we are waiting for the final version by the European Commission in Albania. This will help also understanding better how to foster these clusters in Albania, but also to see the opportunities to create cluster in the region eventually. The other point we can also collaborate that would be interesting is also the centers of excellence. For example, we have already a feasibility study for a center of excellence in Otranto region, Otranto channel, sorry. And we presented also IPA project for supporting this center of excellence in Albania, in Vlora, that we intend to transform in an international center of excellence to involve all the countries that are interested in the Adriatic-Ionian region, that will help for the studies and the policies for all the Adriatic and Ionian Sea, and also the environmental issues in the region. So more or less, these are the main things I have to say in short time, and I hope this first meeting will follow with others that could help us also share opinions and practices between us, and help to better collaborate in the region and create opportunities, common opportunities together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So before we start with the last session, I would like to give an opportunity to Eleni from Jumare. If you want to say a few words.
Yeah, good morning and congratulations for organizing not only this meeting today, but also for the whole macro-regional.
Eleni, we cannot hear you. No one can hear you right now. Your microphone seems to be on, but it doesn't seem to. We just heard the first 3 words. No, we cannot hear you. Maybe try go into the upper right corner where you have settings and try to turn off the audio and then try to turn it back on.
Now?
Now we can hear you again.
Yes.
Yes. Not, nope.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you again. No, again, no. Sorry, we still cannot hear you. Maybe, Eleni, if you just type your comment in the chat box, and then if stuff, we can try again in a few minutes, okay? Okay. So then going forward, I would like to invite Gregor Čufer from European Commission, DG Regio, to give us some inputs on value added of transnational cooperation and coordinated policymaker. Hi, Gregor.
Hi, Simona. Hello, everyone. Thanks for organizing this event, and thanks for the invitation. Hope you can hear me okay. There might be some background noises, but I apologize for that in advance. So yeah, I was trying to listen to most of the discussions today. I will admit it was not everything that I managed to hear due to some other work, but I was very much impressed with quite a lot of I've heard, especially, I mean, seeing candidate countries being so well advanced, seeing the level of cooperation presented by different stakeholders and regions. So it's a very reassuring thing for us at the Commission to see that a lot of things are happening, a lot of things are going on that we might not even be completely aware of. So yeah, let me just share my presentation. It's mostly just for the background, but still so that you have it, and I hope you can see it. Yeah. Okay, so the idea is DG Regio and the Commission in general has been striving, as you know, for long years to boost the innovation through smart specialization, do a transformation of the RDI systems, etc. And in the new period, we wanted to go even a step further. So the whole idea is to do a transformation of the RDI systems, of the SME system, of the industrial transition, etc. So one of the first things that is, if I just give you a short overview of the new smart specialization as we see it, and the policy objective 1 within the general common provision regulations proposals, was that we try to merge different things together. Goras mentioned this, that Slovenia has been, for example, doing something like that. And yes, the Commission also thinks that it is not just RDI, it is not just skills, it is not just SMEs, not just industry. Everything has to work together. And that's why these things, digital also, digital SME, RDI support and skills have become an integral part of so-called policy objective 1. Now, also within other policy objectives, which, as you know, focus on more the environmental aspects, the infrastructure, the human resource development, it's important to link smart specializations also with those, not by specific investments, perhaps. Sorry, that moved forward without me. But definitely by employing solutions that we see developed within PO1 than in other POs. Why is this important? Because we noticed that in the past, for example, a lot has been invested into technology parks, a lot has been invested into infrastructure, a lot has been invested in business zones, laboratories, etc., that are then open, that are then empty. Even on European level, we have some flagship projects where a lot of funds have been made by different regions, have been put into very good ideas, very good projects, but there's a skills component missing, and there is no human resources that would be available to run the things forward. So that was the idea about that big change. And then this was back in 2019 when it was proposed. As you know, the regulations are still under discussion, but we should be kicking off with 1st of January 2021. It was mentioned several times, things are changing due to the COVID epidemic. And for us as well, we are at DG Regio looking again at what should be the priorities on the European level, on the macro-regional level for specific member states, as well as what we see as potential for candidate countries. And there is going to be a need for a shift into improving the research and innovation in health, into making our economies more resilient, improving digitization. And here's where cooperation can also play a major role, you know, supporting each other's with research, let's say business, academia, stakeholders in different regions working together to develop new solutions. All that can feed into the green, resilient, green and digital recovery, a more resilient ecosystem, and make us more prepared, make Europe more prepared for the next challenges. We also support that with a bunch of new funding opportunities. As you're surely aware of REACT-EU, of the Recovery and Resilience Facility. All of these different funding mechanisms, in addition to the multi-annual financial framework, also have innovation aspects, also should be or could be linked with smart specialization and so on. So what we want is a smart transformation, making Europe more resilient, linking together different aspects, linking it with industrial transition, which is also important. And that's how we see the way forward for smart specialization in general. So moving from a narrow view of this is our specific area of expertise, but seeing how it can be implemented into value chains. And then if I move to my second point, through cooperation. I mostly work on, let's say, a handful, 3-4 member states. One of them is Slovenia. It's definitely seen that cooperation is needed, especially in smaller regions, smaller countries. There's not much that can be done alone. or it can be done, but it could be done better if you cooperate. And that's why we fully support interregional projects, platforms, etc. Just a second, yeah. So it was already a lot presented about the partnerships, the thematic smart specialization platforms. Lesh talked about that. It is one of the well-known initiatives that is being done at the European level, and a lot of your regions are taking active part in it. In addition to that, I would mention also the interregional partnerships, the Interregional Innovation Initiative. Some of you again are part of them, but for those that are not, there has been a pilot initiative launched a couple of years ago by DG Regio. We had 9 partnerships working in different areas across the board, from 3D printing to big data, etc., etc. Recently, there has been a call which just closed for 4 additional areas linked to COVID, specifically focused on health systems, circular economy, medical devices. Why I'm explaining this? Because this is the basis, more or less, for the future, for the so-called Component 5, which is part of the cross-border regulation, if I remember correctly. And here, the idea is to build on the interregional innovation partnerships, to build on what the platforms do, especially with the focus of including regions and their projects into EU level and global level value chains. So there's a certain allocation proposed for this. We first proposed around 1 billion. It seems that it will be a bit reduced to 500 million for these interregional partnerships. What is important is that they have different strengths. Both strengths are financial and advisory support. The first one is for, let's say, more developed projects, more advanced partnerships. The second one is for a bit less developed regions. There's also kind of a third strand, even though the regulation talks about 2, but the third one is basically, okay, technical assistance. And the idea of all these projects is to provide capacity building, to provide technical support, to link less developed regions with more developed regions, to enable cooperation, etc. So I know there was some discussion about how to continue EDP. There was a discussion on how to find best examples. All this capacity building and support can be used within the interregional innovation environments for this. My colleagues also mentioned, reminded me of some specific projects within the macro regions. For example, the CCRES3, focusing on creative and cultural regional ecosystems, improving them, linking them into cooperation, etc. These are all like flagship projects that we really see potential to continue forward. EDP, I mentioned it a couple of times, entrepreneurial discovery process. It was mentioned by almost all of your presentations. Main points for me here. It's important to understand, and it's quite often misunderstood. Entrepreneurial discovery process, it's not something you do and you have your smart specialization and it's over. No, it's a continuous process. It should be a continuous process, because smart specialization strategies are evolving. These are living things that need to be changed, adapted to the realities. And it's important to do it, at least as I see it, it's important to do it on a wider area. Okay, first you start with your regional EDP. You see what are your priorities, but then it's very good to link it with not necessarily just bordering regions, but regions that are either in the same macro-regional strategy or somewhere else in Europe that they have the same advantages. And that is the way forward we see to somehow boost inclusion in the value chains, boost innovation, and so on. Just maybe some more reflections on what was said, just because I noted some things down. I mean, ranging from political support, yes, that is the prerequisite, and I see in a lot of member states that I work with that is maybe the main thing, that first you need to get that on board, and then from there on it's a lot easier to do cooperation and to do EDP. It's not something to be have to repeat many times, but it's a given. Cooperation, how to cooperate, how to get good practices. There are a lot of tools available from the European Commission that can help you with this. I'm sure you're aware with STIEX, peer-to-peer that you can use, for example, to go to another region to see how they're doing it, learn from them. For example, it was mentioned by, I think, Linda, if I'm correct about the career platform, but if I'm mistaken, I'm sorry, and the links with Slovenian version. So there are options to collaborate, to work together, and if you need some more information on how we can finance this, let me know, and we can give you some more information. And maybe lastly, one thing I would say is the importance really of skills. Just to reiterate what I said at the start, skills development we see it as a red line across our analysis of most member states. I mean, I didn't see analysis for candidate member states, but when we did our country reports last year, the Commission presented its analysis of what are the main needs, and a vast majority also of countries in this region and regions in this macro region have the need to develop skills to tailor them to the future of work and so on. So please, when you draft your strategies, when you see what is the potential for cooperation within the macro-regional strategy, within EUSAIR, think also of development of skills and so on. So that would be my main views on what was discussed, and from a regional point of view, how to see forward. So back to Simona now, I guess, and thank you.
Thank you, Gregor. So we have a question. We're waiting for a question from Mrs. Ida Starts. Ida, if you want to turn on your microphone and ask. Oh, okay, so I guess we have the question. Just let us read it. Okay, so the question is, I'm interested in your view, which area, health, energy, infrastructure, bioeconomy, food, etc., of the macro-regional cooperation is the most needed in our region, and perhaps in which of those areas the cooperation is now most successful? So this is question directly to you, Gregor.
Yeah, but could you please repeat it, because I was trying to cancel my presentation, and just once more, please.
Yeah. So I'm interested in your view, which area, health, energy, infrastructure, bioeconomy, food, etc., of the macro-regional cooperation is the most needed in a region, and perhaps in which of those areas the cooperation is now the most successful?
What exactly do you mean by which region? Are we talking about the macro region? Are we talking about a specific region?
I'm assuming the macro region, the region we're talking about today. So
yeah, okay.
Hello? No.
Yes.
If I may speak, I would just like to clarify. I was interested in which area from those I wrote, health or environment, food, infrastructure, in which of those areas the cooperation is now most developed? This is a sectorial question. I'm just interested because I have been listening to your debate, and it's very interesting, and it made me curious.
Okay, I understand the question now, but unfortunately, I will not be able to give you a reply on that, because I don't really specifically have the data with me right now. But okay, I can look at it where we see the most development was done, where the most progress was done, and I can get back to you later on. But I sadly don't have that information right now.
Thank you for your answer. I'm sorry if I was too. I was just curious. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I understand completely. It's a good question. It's a very good question, but I will need to consult with the colleagues who work more closely on that.
Thank you.
So does anyone else have any questions or comments to make? So Boras here has a comment, so I guess he's the closest sitting to me, so I have to give him the floor.
This is why we are sitting together also, so close. Thank you, Greg, also for your inputs and reflections on what it was said, and thank to all of the presenters. Well, I believe that, and also to the question that it was raised, I mean, the question that you either raised, I see it as a great input also for what we are now trying to develop here. Now, the better knowing to each other where is, what are the potentials, what are the priorities in each areas, and how to cooperate better. So the answer direct to your question, I would say, is to be seen where we'll develop the cooperation. So what I wanted to emphasize is what also, or to echo, or to make a reflection on what Grega mentioned, is that yes, the importance. Thank you, Grega, for mentioning the importance of skills. You know that Slovenia was there already from the beginning. Thank you for mentioning other opportunities for funding, because the cohesion or the ESI funds or the other are not the only ones. Nowadays we have REACT, we said recovery and resilience, and also Slovenia, I assure you, wants to take advantage and to use also related to smart specialization strategy and to investing in research and innovation, also the joint transition fund for the areas which are under industrial transition. I would say, I would echo on, so EDP, I believe, was the most the words that were most often used, and the importance of the EDP. And again, I also emphasized, and thank you, Grega, to say it again and make it clear that it's not a thing or a process. It's not an action that you do when you are preparing or designing the smart specialization, but it's a continuous process. Here we have also good examples also from Slovenia that EDP is functioning. Why? Also during all these years of implementation, there I mentioned a lot, some of the changes have been made in some of our priority areas under, so not that we changed the priority areas, but we changed the focus areas and technologies. That thanks to what has happened within the SRIPs. So critical, the SRIPs were the institution or the tool that made also that the EDP is going on all the time. The second important thing, and here is where I will end, is the importance also of what we see of monitoring and evaluation. I didn't say it before, emphasize a lot the monitor and evaluation, for instance, and to achieve the critical mass within the governance, is that for instance, we already from the beginning we started the evaluation process also of the success of our SRIPs. And the results came out at the end of last year, and it was that no SRIP, for instance, was, let's say, low performer. A lot of them have been on the middle or average, and the majority, and of course 2 were scored 9 grades out of 10. So the critical mass within the SRIPs and the critical mass to achieve is important. And here I will, for now, for the comments, that it end.
Okay, Goras, you still have a comment from Aleš Namuš from earlier, and I
will answer this later.
Okay. So does anyone else have any comments or reflections on what was being said today, especially given also Gregor's intervention? You can just talk, maybe. As far as Linda goes, yes, of course, we will support you in establishing contacts.
I will.
Yes.
To Linda, okay, thank you, Linda Pustina, to your question. Of course, we are open to, since we are open to cooperate cooperate and to share with you all our knowledge on that respect.
Okay.
Thank you a lot.
Of course, and Linda will also establish a contact between you and Andrei Kajan because he's interested in your Center of Excellence. I will send you an email later on today or tomorrow.
Yes, perfect.
So no problem. So the floor is open. Anyone who wants to say, comment, ask any questions? If not, then if I'm allowed, I will give my main observations from today and some technical details. Or you put us. So
she's the moderator.
So I think it's been clear throughout the whole day that one, we should make such meetings regular and possibly in the future also physical, so we could actually meet each other. But the reason to do that is not to have meetings as such, but to increase the value added of cooperation and collaboration, which would then also help us align policies more and better, that which would contribute also then to macro-regional strategies, and ideally in the end, maybe also to alignment of various financial instruments, as quite a few of you, of the speakers are already pointed out. I would also like just to say that I really appreciate all of your participation and your very thorough presentations. I think it's been proven of value added for everyone to get to know each other. And that is my main point taken. But I also, Goran would like to make some conclusions.
Andrea, you have some?
Maybe not really yet, but no, actually it's another day that is in front of us. But listening to today actually discussion, my feeling is that there is a lot of content, extremely lot of content, and it was really good to listen to our colleagues from non-EU member states with their very, very fruitful contributions. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow's day, where based on that, I hope we will come to a deliverable at the end of the day, in a way that as there is so many content, we need to continue discussing between each other, building synergies, building alliances for the joint actions, and with all these efforts to actually move from the fragmentation, which is there, to a new, more vital European Union. As the President of the Union just recently mentioned, we need to overcome the fragmentation. And with listening to all these contributions today, I think we are in a very good way to do so.
Very much.
And also a few words, 4 points from my side. First of all is related to what was already said, what Simona already mentioned, and since I'm one of the initiators of this exercise, I would like to thank you all in the name of myself and in the name of the institution that we represent. So the Government Office for Development and EU Cohesion Policy, for your participation, for your interest, and that I would dare to say that despite we started the process, so let's also our intention and what we are trying to do becomes an EDP, so that it is a continuous process, and that we, despite the COVID situation, and that our intention was that the first one of the meeting of such kind would be the in-person one, not a virtual one. We succeeded to share our ideas also through the technology that enabled us to share the ideas. And here is that I come to this, that I am sure and confident that this will become at least once per year a traditional meeting, and also the meetings in before. That's the first one. The second one is that when we'll start to know each other better, and that we really achieve we will be able to achieve and to establish the, let's say, S3 EUSAIR network, among us on the field of the smart specialization. That means that also what Grega mentioned before, and that was our intention also, that when we are talking about the EDP, we don't look only within our countries or within our regions, but we look broader, and we take into consideration.
I just have one quick intervention. As I see some people are starting to leave, we would like all of you, if you can, to turn on the cameras for a brief second, just to take a farewell photo. And I'm giving the words back to Boras.
Okay, thank you. And I assume that means that I have to finish very quickly.
You have.
And okay, but I was already at the number point 3, and the point 4 is, if we'll do it this process right, and I'm quite confident we'll do it, we will then come also to what was also Simona took out from your suggestions before, and what was our final aim, that, and I mentioned it, that to somehow to foster or to enhance the cooperation among all of us, among the stakeholders. We'll see tomorrow the first reaction, and to finally at the end come to a joint and enhance the joint support for our activities, including the joint projects or joint goals and so on. And with this, I conclude. Thank you.
So I just have a few technical details. So as you know, all the presentations will be shared. We would also like to form a group of interested stakeholders where we could continuously exchange experiences and share. Of course, also organize additional such events. Some of you know tomorrow is the second day of this event, where some best cases and experiences will be presented. This time it is related to blue growth, but that does not mean that this is the only topic. So if you have a suggestion for a topic or an area where we could exchange experiences and best cases, please let us know, email us. I think you have all of our contacts, and we can certainly repeat this again. And for my part, I really enjoyed today, and I really want to thank you all again for your participation and cooperation. So, and you're all more than welcome, of course, to join us tomorrow if you can. And I think now it's a wave time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.